Shalom and welcome back to Che Languages. Almost 2 months ago, I made a video on 3 forgotten Uralic languages, and earlier this week you may have seen the short video I did on Hungarian. That was a bit of a teaser to this video, where today we're going to be talking about 3 more forgotten Uralic languages. So let's start with the video now. In the very far north of Scandinavia, in a region known as Lapland, there are a collection of languages which are often assumed to be one language, spoken by Uralic peoples completely unrelated to the Nordic Scandinavians. These people are called the Sámi people, and this is their flag for all of them. However, in this video we're going to be specifically focusing on one language called Northern Sámi. This is because it's not one language, as I just mentioned. The endonym is Yalla, which looks odd, but if you see the last part of that, you'll notice the word kiel, which we've seen means language in a lot of Uralic languages. And as for Northern Sámi, it is classed as northwest of the Western Sámi languages in the overall Sámi sub-branch, which is part of the contested Finno-Permic branch of the Uralic language, or Uralic languages thereof. Here is a sort of graph showing all the different Sámi languages. And as you can see, there's a division of East and West, and in the northwest we have Northern Sámi, which is the most spoken of all the Sámi languages, let me note. Here is a map of the Sámi languages. The red indicates the Northern Sámi languages, or rather the Northern Sámi dialects, and they overall have 25,000 speakers. So, let's take a look at the language. It contains a diverse number of dialects split into 4 groups: Western Finnmark, Eastern Finnmark, Torne, and Sea Sámi. The written language is based off the Western Finnmark dialects, however, although there is some limited Eastern Finnmark influence. Here is the phonology of Northern Sámi, and then here are the vowels. And here is the standard orthography that's used to write Northern Sámi. Again, as mentioned, the language has around 25,000 speakers, and they are located across the border in both Sweden and Norway, as well as Finland in Finnish Lapland, very far north of Finland. Here is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Northern Sámi. Again, the different Sámi languages differ massively, and the Eastern Sámi languages, all of which are heavily endangered right now, because they're mainly contained within Russia, who are not very good at preserving minority languages. All of those languages are nearly dead, and they differ widely, so I chose to look at Northern Sámi because there's the most about it. The Wikipedia page is huge, it really goes far into the grammar and everything, and you can get a look at how it looks right here. It's not mutually intelligible with Finnish, but I would be interested to see if any Finnish speakers can pick out any certain words as cognates. But with that, let's move on to our next language of this video. So if you watched my last video on Uralic languages, you'll know that one of the languages I spoke about was outside of Russia and the other 2 were inside Russia. We're going to have the exact same thing happen again, and this is because the majority of Uralic languages are located within Russia, although they have fewer speakers overall. The language we're to be talking about right now is in the heartland of Russia, and it's called Khanty. Here is the flag of the Khanty-Mansi Autonomous Okrug, where it is spoken, just there on the map, and right above it is the Yalla Nenets Autonomous Okrug. It spills into as well. So in Khanty itself, it's referred to as Khanty Asan, and it has 9,600 native speakers of the 2010 consensus, although there could potentially be more than that. It used to be known as Ostiak, and it's the closest relative of Hungarian. Here is a map of Hungarian, Mansi and Khanty, which are all part of the Ugric branch of the Finno-Ugric sub-branch of the Uralic languages. And here is a map of the dialects of both Khanty and Mansi, which start to bleed into each other a bit. The lines get a little bit blurry. So the main dialects are Vach, Vasyugan, Surgut, Irtish, Obdorsk, and the Ob dialects, and then these are all the different Mansi dialects. Bear in mind that these are all dialect groups and have dialects within them. Vasugan and Vach are the Far Eastern dialects, Surgut is a sort of central one, and Obdorsk is the northern dialects group. And this makes things complicated, because here we have different consonant inventories. Here's Vach, here's Surgut, and here's Kazim. Now Kazim is one of the Obdorsk dialects in the north, and it's the standard literary dialect that's used for broadcasts and newspapers within the oblast, whereas Vach and Surgut are used more locally, but they're sort of the literary dialects in their local regions. The other ones seem to be unwritten. But talking of writing the language, it has the Cyrillic script, of course, being in Russia, although it's modified for use in a Uralic language, including palatalized consonants and all sorts. And then here is a more in-depth structure of their vowel system. Finally, I have this text from Omniglot, which is supposedly an example of the Khanty language. Now sadly, I tried to search for this text because I couldn't find what it said on Omniglot. Similar to Udmurt in my last video, Omniglot just didn't provide a translation. When I put this text into Google, I got nothing. But when I put it into YouTube, I strangely enough got this video. Please check it out. It's one of the funniest videos I've seen this year. It's this exact same text in the Khanty language sung out to death metal. And it's the weirdest thing, and it's got 10 views for some weird channel that only has 2 videos. It's hilarious. And then the channel I Love Languages has also made a video on Khanty, which will also be linked just now in the corner of the screen. But that's all we have for Khanty. Now we're going to move on to the final language of the day. The final language we're going to talk about today is spoken in the far north of Russian Siberia. This language is called Nenets. It has this flag to represent the people. There are other flags that represent the actual autonomous area of Russia, but this is a non-political flag, it's just of the people itself. And here's a map of the Samoyedic languages, which some people in my previous video told me that they wanted me to talk about. Nenets has 2 varieties, Forest Nenets and Tundra Nenets, which are completely mutually unintelligible. Forest Nenets only has about 900 speakers. There's also another language called Nenets, which you can see on the map, also completely mutually intelligible. They just have similar names. So let's look more into this. We have Tundra Nenets, which is the one we're talking about today. It's the most spoken Nenets language out of the 2. It's part of the Nenets group, which is ultimately Samoyedic. The Samoyedic languages are split into 3 groups. One of them is just called Samoyedic Core, of which Nenets is derived from, and of course ultimately part of the Uralic languages. So in the language itself, it's either known as Nenets, Nenetsi, Yurak, or Yurak Samoyedic. So there's a few different words that can refer to the language. As of the 2010 survey that was conducted around Russia, it is reported to have 21,900 speakers. Now let's take a look at the actual language itself. Here are the vowels, which initially can look scary, but just like the consonants, you'll notice that most of them are just palatalized equivalents of their plain consonant. There is the Cyrillic script used to write Nenets, which is used officially in Russia, but bear in mind a Latinization also exists. What I like about the Latin script is it uses a sort of dot or mini apostrophe, or with the case of the letter ts, it uses a sadia, to represent the palatalized equivalent of its plain consonant, whereas the Cyrillic script just uses the Cyrillic soft sign, like it does in Russian. Finally, we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in both the Cyrillic and Latinized script for Tundra Nenets. Does anybody speak a Samoyedic language in the comments? I highly doubt it, but it would be really cool if we have someone watching who does. Tell me if you understand this, or how it compares with your Samoyedic language. As for this language though, we are going to finish this section and ultimately finish the video. I thank you all for watching. Please do consider subscribing and also give this video a like. If there's anyone else who might like to learn about the Uralic languages, share this video too. I don't know if I'll make a part 3 to this because it gets to the point where actually finding information on these languages is really difficult, because a lot of them that are in Russia are not very well recorded. They're used on a very local basis, but not much information outside of Russia seems to exist, so it's not too easy to get a lot of information about it. If anyone could help me with that information, it'd be great, and I'd be able to make another video on this. But I hope you found this video interesting, and I hope that you all learned something new. I will see you next week, and Yalla.